demonstrating how to we'll be demonstrating how to make palm sandals and half shoe. And today with me are two facilitators. The facilitator on my right is Mr. Onibide Solomon, and the one on my right is Mr. So they'll be demonstrating for us how to make shoes, how to make palm sandals, and we'll be showing ourselves different equipment and tools that we use in the footwear manufacturing industry. So come along with me as we go about with
the footwear industry. Last time we have introduced you to how to make to the footwear industry. In the footwear industry, we have different types of equipment that we are using in the footwear industry. I will be introducing one by one of the equipment that we are using in the industry. We normally use scissors in cutting our leather. And we also have this is a pump perforator. We use it to perforate a hole inside footwear. And we have this is blood. We use it to apply gold on the footwear. We also have this is knife. We use it in cutting anyway that we want to cut in the footwear. And we also have this is called lasting plier. We use it in lasting shoe, full shoe, and shoe. We also have this is the iron last. So all this equipment that I'm showing is necessary in the footwear industry. This one is a nose guard. When we are filing with our filing machine, this is what we need to use to cover our nose because of the dust that we are filing out of the footwear. Then this is called shoe lap. This one we used it to make a half shoe and a full shoe. And this is a sandal wrap. We use it in making a standard palm and a palm slipper. This one is different from this. This one is for shoe and half shoe, while this one is for sandal and palm. So we also have this is also important in the footwear industry. We call it adhesive. In the footwear industry, we don't call it gum, but we call it adhesive. It's very, very important in the footwear industry. And another thing which is very essential in footwear industry is in the footwear industry, which is very important, is our sole. We call it the outer sole or outsole in the footwear industry. Then we have we have a teaching oil. We have teaching oil, and this one call it ball. We usually use it for insole of a half shoe and a shoe. Another thing is the tape. This is the tape in the footwear industry. This one is the teaching oil. Locally, people used to call it the sugar, but in the footwear industry, we call it the teaching oil. And the correct spelling for teaching oil is AWL. And another important tool that is very essential in the footwear industry is our filing machine. This machine is essential in the footwear industry because we use it in filing and brushing of our footwear before applying gum. Then another equipment that we are using, this is teaching machine. This is teaching machine. This is electric teaching machine, and we have a machine thread. Machine thread that we footwear designers are using is different from the machine thread that other vocational studies are using. Then we also have a manual teaching machine. This is also manual teaching machine. We also use it in teaching various parts of our footwear together, including it together. this is gum. This is gum, and this one is a paper tape. We use paper tape in the footwear industry in getting a pattern, and that method we call this a standard construction in the footwear industry, and that is what we use on this class. After using a paper tape on the last like this, we then draw the type of a pattern that we want to use on the glass. Then we have this is the cutting stove. We used to call it a cutting stove. This is the macro stove. So we use it for footwear stove. Apart from the one that is being made, that is called ready made, this one is a cutting stove. And this one is a leather. Leather is very, very important in the footwear industry. Without leather, you cannot make a footwear. This is a perforator plant. If you want to punch a hole in a footwear without using this handy equipment, you can also use it with a hand perforator. We place the leather on it like this. I think this is our point. You place it on it like this and use hammer on it to perforate a hole on the leather. So far so good. We want to move now to the practical, which is with two. We want to move to the practical.
I welcome you all to the second week in footwear industry. This week, we are going to show you how to make a palm slippers using paperboard. Without leather, you can make a palm slippers. You can follow me and look at it as you are doing it. Firstly, you need a template to form your insole. We are going to use a paperboard to form the insole. After marking it out with your template, you cut what you draw out. So this is our insole in a footwear industry to make a palm slippers. After that, you go to the next thing, that is how to make your upper. We have three materials to make our upper in footwear industry. We have leather, we have fabric, and we have synthetic promeric. But today, we are going to show you how to make an upper using a cardboard. Assuming we are making a cross palm, let me show you how to get a pattern for a cross palm. As you have been told, in your first week of this section, you need your footwear measurement, which is last. And you place the upper on top of the last. This is a palm slippers. But you can never wear it like this. But you must put it together with your insole. Now, you need your perforator plier to put hole in your insole. After that, you use your cutting tool to join those holes together so that your upper can enter each portion. So after that, you insert your upper inside the hole. Now, the upper and the insole have been put together. Now you can apply gum so that both insole and the upper will hold each other very well. You wait for a few seconds so that the gum can dry. After that, you gum those upper with the insole. But before you can gum it, you have to adjust those upper so that it will be firm with our last. After that, you can remove your footwear last. Now we have a palm slippers made with a paper board. This is a cross palm. And after putting the insole and the upper together, we still have another thing to put, which is our outsole. You can use various materials to form your outsole. You can use a rubber, you can use a ready-made sole, and you can also use a Mako sole. Assuming you are using a Mako sole, just bring out the sole you are going to use. You draw it out using the same shape of the insole. After that, you cut it out. After cutting it out, you go straight to another department, of which we have our filing machine. You have been shown, the filing machine has been shown to you in the first week. So after filing the surface of the insole and the outsole, you now apply gum on both surfaces. You also wait for a while for the gum to dry. After that, you put both insole and the outsole together. Assuming you use a sole that is faceless, you can put a heel at the back. So you use another materials to form a heel on top of the outsole. To get an half heel, what you need is to find a materials that is very hard, that will not remove quickly. You draw it out like this, you cut it out. After that, you go to your filing machine, brush both surface and apply gum on it. After a while of your waiting, you place them together. Now, by following those things I've said, you can get a palm slippers with a paper board. That is that for the second week in this section.
We are going to display to you how to make use of leather and doing the real palm. You know, with two, we show you how to use the paper in forming a palm clipper. But this time around, you want to use the leather in forming a real palm. Follow me the way I will be displaying it. You will use your paper pattern. You will use your paper pattern in cutting your cardboard paper in cutting pattern. You will place it on a leather like this, and this is what I'm doing in footwear industry. Is a particular department in doing it in the footwear industry, and it's a clicking department. Mr. Clicker will draw the pattern on a leather like this. After drawing the pattern on the leather like this, you will cut it out. You will cut it out by using your scissors. You will cut it out with scissors. So after cutting it out with scissors, you will place it on the inner leather. It's locally called lining, inner leather. So you will gum it together with the inner leather. So after gumming it together, you will now move to your stitching machine. That stitching machine is being used in a clothing department in the footwear industry. All the departments are separately in the footwear industry. They are working separately in the footwear industry, but hand in hand in making the footwear. This is our real pattern. So you place it on the liner like this, and mark it the way I mark it on the leather. After marking it like this, you will apply gum on it, which is adhesive. You will apply gum, which is adhesive. You gum it together. You apply gum on the leather too and the inner lining. You will wait for a while, for like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Then you will gum your leather on your inner leather. You will gum it together like this. So after gumming it together, you will use your hammer to hammer it. That's blade. So after hammering it like this, you will cut it out. You will cut it out. So after cutting it out, you will now take it to clothing department, which is by stitching it with a stitching machine. So after cutting it out like this, we are taking it to the clothing department of the footwear with a stitching machine. This is an electric stitching machine. So we use it in stitching the leather, in cutting various parts of the leather together. Then you can see that the machine is stitching the thread. You can see that the machine is stitching the thread. You can also use it in creating a pattern on the leather too. You can also use the stitching machine, that is how to use stitching machine in creating a pattern on the leather. You can see how it is done. That is now we're finished with the teaching of our leather now. So we are going straight to the last tool of our footwear by using our footwear measurement, which we call last. So we place the last on the insole of the footwear. We place the last on the insole of the footwear. After placing the last on the insole of the footwear like this, attach to my knee, your nail to hold this together with the last. Then you place your upper on the insole and last. You place it together like this. This is how to do it. Second leg too. If there of a band like this, it's called a pier in the footwear industry. Two legs of a band like this is called a one pier in the footwear industry. So we are using our last to last our footwear. This is our measurement. This is our footwear measurement in the footwear industry. You can see how I'm using it. You will make sure that you let your upper firm with the last very well. Just as we have showed you in second week. And the reason is that by the time the person that will use the footwear will be using it, will be able to firm with the person's leg, and it will not be slack on hand. So we make sure that you firm very well. So after that, you now apply gum. You now apply gum. On the footwear, you use your adhesive on it in order to gum it together with the insole. With the insole. You apply gum, the leather, and the insole. After applying gum like this, you wait for some minutes. You wait for some minutes to dry. You let it dry for some minutes. Then you gum it together with the insole. You do the same to the second leg too. You do the same to the second leg too. By applying gum to the leather and the insole. You apply gum to the leather and the insole. You wait for some minutes, then you will lap it. You will lap it and insole with the footwear measurement which is our lap. Now this is how to lap our footwear. After you have allowed it to dry for some minutes, you can see I am stretching it on the insole. You stretch it very well on the insole. Then the back too, you stretch in very well. You stretch in very well on the insole. So after gumming it like this, you can use your plastic hammer to hammer it on the insole. Then you do the same to the second leg. You do the same to the second leg. After you have allowed it to dry for some minutes, so having done it like this, we will now take it to the finishing department, whereby we use our filing machine. So I'm going to use the filing machine in filing the surface. After complete the upper and the insole like this, you will now go and cut your outer toe. So you use your upper and cutting the outer toe like this. You will use the barrel to mark it round. But you must let it lay on the cutting tool that you want to use so as to get the shape of the insole very well. After marking it like this, you will now cut it out. So having cut it out like this, so we are now taking it to finishing the pattern. Thereby we use the filing machine in brushing the surface of the leather and surface of the insole, including the surface of the sole. So we are moving to the use of the filing machine in brushing the surface of our footwear. So we press the machine like this. We allow it to roll very well. After allowing it to roll very well, we will now be brushing it like this. Brush it. And the reason for brushing it is that and then you apply gum on it so that your footwear can gum very well. So having brushed this toe, you also brush the outer toe or outer toe. You brush it like this. You can see the way I'm using the filing machine in brushing it. You can see the way I'm using it. That's why this machine is very essential in the footwear industry. If you want to get up to footwear making or manufacturing shop or industry, it is necessary for you to get this machine. So you got the interface of the insole key. You got it like this, got it like this. So having got it like this, having got it like this, then you will now go and apply gum on it. You now go and apply gum on it. So gum on the surface of the outsole, you apply it like this. You apply your gum on the surface of your outsole, and you will do the same to the upper and the insole too. So after applying gum on it like this, you will allow it to dry for some minutes before gumming it together. Before gumming it together. This is where I'm applying gum on the insole and the upper of the footwear. After allowing gum on the insole, as I said, you will allow it to dry for some minutes before gumming it with the outsole. You allow it to dry for some minutes before gumming it with the outsole. And this is how we used to do footwear in the footwear industry. We apply it from second leg too, like this. We apply it very well so as to gum together. and you allow it to dry for some minutes. Let me allow you to dry for some minutes. Then you will now gum together your in-stroke, your upper, and your out-stroke. You will gum together. So you can see that the out-stroke is important in footwear. There is nobody that can wear a footwear like this without the out-stroke. So you will gum it together with the out-stroke. The way I'm gumming it must lay very well on the insole. So having gummed it together like this, you will place it on your iron lath. You will hammer the edge. We do the same to the second leg too. We hammer it through. After gumming it together like this, we will now take it back once again to the finishing department in smoothing the edges of the toe. In smoothing the edges of the toe. Like this, we will now take it back once again to the finishing department by using a filing machine, smoothing the edges of the sole round. We are going to the finishing department by filing the edges of the sole round with our filing machine. This is how to smooth it. department. And the work of the shoemaking in the department is to clean the footwear. At times when filing it, you file the machine and mark it. You apply that on the surface mark. You use the polish to polish the footwear. By using that, you're cleaning it, or you're cleaning it, and after cleaning it, you apply your polish on it. Polish it very well. Or package it in the line for the customer to buy. And you can also be a footwear service provider to a boutique, a boot boutique. You can also write a proposal to them that you want to be producing for them in bulk. Because all the footwear that we are using, that we are selling in boutique, that they are selling in boutique, is being made by footwear manufacturer.
I welcome you all to the 4th week in Department of Shoemaking. Firstly, I would like to show you some parts on the equipment or tools that we are using in the shoemaking industry. As you have been told, we have filing machine being used in finishing departments. But I would like to show you some parts that we have on that filing machine. Firstly, here is known as electric motor. Electric motor. Here we have switch. This is our switch. This is the stone. But we have two different types of stone here. We have smooth stone, while we have sharp stone. This is the machine seat or base. And this is the cord that we can use to connect to the socket so that electricity can take place in the electric motor. Next, in the house we have our sewing machine. As you have been told, this is electric sewing machine or industrial sewing machine. I would like to show you some parts in the machine. Here we have our wheel. This is the wheel. This is the machine belt. This is the adjuster. You can use this to adjust if you want the machine to speed or to low the speed. At the same time, you can use it to adjust the girders of the sewing. Here we have the plates. This is our needle. We have tension here, and we also have our loop. This is the reverse gear. You can use this to reverse the machine if you want it to go back, and you release it if you want it to go front. This is the foot of the machine, and this is the tool that you can use to raise up the foot or to put it down. And another way of raising the foot is here. You can easily use your leg to move it like this, and the foot will easily move up. This is the pedal. If you press the pedal, the motor of the machine will easily move without stressing yourself. And this is the motor that controls the machine. We also have our manual power. Okay, sorry. We also have switch. This is our switch here. The switch has two buttons, the on and the off one. It is being indicated in green and red. You can use the green one to on the motor and use the red one to off the motor. The machine also has a cord that you can use to connect to the electricity. Now we have manual sewing machine. The part of the sewing machine, the manual sewing machine, and that of automatic one is similar, but the difference that is there is that you can never use this one with electric unless you put motor on it. But now there is no motor connected with this one. the parts are almost the same thing. We have pedal, we have heel, we have reverse gear, we have needle, the reverse, the tension, and some other parts that have been shown on the electric one. So that is that on the parts that we have on our machine. Some things that you might be wanting to know. We have 3 sections in footwear industry. One is manufacturing. The work that carries out in manufacturing section is to make our footwear. All what we have been shown in the first week, second week, and the third week is all the work of manufacturer. But in manufacturing section, we have 6 stages or departments. One is pattern, cutting, and design of pattern, which is designing and pattern cutting. The second department is clicking department. In this department, you cut out your leather using the design that has been passed to you by Mr. Designer. Assuming this is passed to you by Mr. Designer, and now you are Mr. Clicker, you are going to move this to leather. You transform it from paper to leather. After that, after cutting the leather out, you transfer it to another department, which is third department, that is known as closing department. They are going to care for coupling the uppers, the stencils that we have cut out from clicking department to make it an upper. We use 3 materials to form our upper. We use leather, we use fabric, and use synthetic polymeric. But today, we are going to show you how to make a shoe, but an half shoe using a leather. But firstly, we are going to show you how to get a perfect and accurate pattern using a method known as standard construction. To get a pattern using a standard construction, firstly, you need your footwear measurement, which is last. And secondly, you need a paper tape. After getting both materials, you are going to place the paper tape on top of your footwear measurement like this. After that, you use the paper tape to cover the last. But the paper tape must rest on each other so that they can connect. After place the paper tape like this, you are going to get something like this, but nothing will be drawn on it. Now, you want to make an half shoe. As a designer, which is the first department, as you have been told, you can easily draw out the pattern that you want to make. Assuming you are doing an half shoe in this form, you can easily draw it on the paper tape. After that, you use your cutting tool, which is known as cutting knife, to cut out what you have drawn on the last. Firstly, you divide the pattern into 2. You remove the one you don't need, like this. Another thing is to cut this part out. After removing it like this, you are going to place it on a paper board. After that, you go back to your footwear measurement and cut out the remaining part. You also remove all those parts that you don't need from the footwear measurement. Now it remains the part that we need, and you also remove it from the last. After removing it, you also place it on a paper board. Now, you go to the next step of action by cutting the pattern out using your paper cardboard. That is one of the templates. To get both sides of the template, you can fold your paper board so that both sides can be easily get. These are our templates for the shoe that we draw on our footwear measurement. Now that we have get our template, the next thing is to transfer the template to the next department, which is clicking department. In this clicking department, they are going to transform the template that we have into leather. After drawing the pattern on top of the leather, you also cut the other part, which is the thumb. You cut it out too. After cutting it out, assuming this is our leather that we just cut, we apply gum on the edges like this. At the same time, on the edges like this too, we apply gum on both. After that, we gum it together. After gumming it together, you will not get anything less than this. But without the design or the ornament, which is known as chain, but in footwear industry we call it an ornament. After gumming the tongue and the body of the shoe together, you are going to put an inner lining. The same thing you did when you are doing your palm slippers, you do the same thing here. You put an inner lining and you go straight to your sewing machine, either manual or electric one. You sew the edges of the upper. Now, this is the work of the third department, which is known as closing department. The upper has been sealed by the third department, and the chain also put in that department. Now we have a complete upper. The next thing to get is our insole. To get our insole for shoe, we make use of a cardboard, a board in footwear industry. We call it leather board in footwear industry. You use the shape of the last, which is footwear measurement that you are using, to cut the insole of the shoe. After marking it like this, you cut it out, and you also cut the second leg to form a pair of insole. After cutting it out, you get what I'm holding in my hand right here. The next thing you need is to cover the inner part of the insole using your synthetic that is locally called lining. After that, you put your insole and the last, which is footwear measurement, together. Using nail, you put it together. You put the insole and the outsole together with nail, like this. Now, you take your upper the department we are now is known as lasting and making department, which is the fourth department, lasting and making department. This is the department caring for putting an upper together with our insole. You draw each part of the inner leather and use your tacking nail to hold the leather with your footwear measurement, which known as last. After that, you apply gum on it. And here is how to apply gum. You do the same thing to the second leg. Of the footwear. You also put gum on the second leg of the footwear. After putting the gum, wait for a while so that the gum can dry. Now, another material we use in footwear industry we come in, which is known as stay. We have two different type of stay. We have front stay, we also have back stay. We use the front stay at the front or fore part of our footwear. We also use back stay at the back side of our footwear. But since we are doing an half shoe, back stay will not be used. But we are going to make use of a front stay. What is the purpose of a front stay in a shoe? We put a front stay in a shoe to enhance or to enforce the fore part of the shoe so that it will not quickly wrinkle. Now, since we are doing a pair of shoe, you cut out your stay. But you make sure the stay you cut is the same thing or the same size with the 4 parts of the footwear you are making. After getting the correct size, the actual size of the stay you need, you cut the second one to make it a pair. After cutting it out like this, you go to your filing machine to file the edges of the stay so that the stay will firm when we put it together with our inner lining shoe. But firstly, we last the inner leather so that we can put in our stay. We make use of our lasting plier